Hello everybody, Wolfpack here, and welcome to a new video. This is a very exciting one, and we are going to take a look at something new. This is a game that's currently in the works called Aces and Armour. About a month back, these developers reached out to me regarding this game. Upon first look, this looked incredibly exciting. A World War II tank game, initially set on the Eastern Front, with fully modeled interiors, AI infantry, and in the far future, aircraft. As many of you know, I'm a big fan of IL-2 Tank Crew. Although this project was flawed, it is some of the most fun I've had in a multiplayer PvP environment. Long-term matches where long-term positioning and planning paid off. That is my kind of game. And to me, it looks like Aces and Armour is aiming to replicate that experience and in some ways surpass it. Aces and Armour will feature two main game modes, an arcade mode, which will last around a half hour to 45 minutes, and a realistic game mode, where you are limited to the first person and the matches will last around 2 hours. The developer shot me, unintended, a demo of the game, showcasing the interior of the Panzer IV. This looks really impressive. Graphically, all the interiors are incredibly detailed. You can remove plates, every hatch can be opened and manipulated. The armored shutters can be brought down over the driver's vision ports and the commander's cupola. There is no gunnery in the demo yet, but I was assured that that is in the works and coming soon. The main feature of this demo is the driving, and I must say, it feels very good. The devs have tried to replicate the experience of driving a World War II tank the best they can with mouse and keyboard, making driving the tank something that certainly takes some skill. You have to manipulate the tillers to actually turn the tank. W and S manipulate the throttle, and shift and control increase or decrease what gear you are in. Driving this feels fantastic and much better than some other tank games like Squad 44 for example, where it feels like you are really driving on ice. The developers of Aces and Armour nailed this feeling though. The tank feels heavy and driving is actually fun. The environment is also something that the devs have worked on. We are currently on a test map, but a lot of the foliage and such are assets that the devs themselves have created. Overall, this is a very early demo, but I'm impressed. There are some bugs here and there, of course. The depth of field is one kind of annoying one, and the tank slides around when stationary. But I do get the sense of detail that the developers are trying to achieve here with Aces and Armour. I started off praising this project and showing it off, but I think it's time to go into some of the things that make me uneasy about Aces and Armour. This is an indie project, which really has a large dev team. It's surprisingly large, in my opinion. The lead dev told me there are around 20 people working on this project. I'm not sure the breakdown of part-time and full-time devs, but that's still a lot more than I expected. I would be interested in a breakdown of how many developers are working on what, because a project like this has a long way to go. For one, with all these assets, turning knobs and such, I am worried about netcode and performance. This is a game using Unreal Engine, which has notorious performance issues. Additionally, the devs have stated that they want to add aircraft in the distant future. At first, I figured these aircraft would be call-ins, kind of like what we have in Gunner PC, but it seems like the devs want to make them flyable. Again, a very ambitious goal, which to me seems kind of unrealistic. To me, a lot of indie developers get carried away with ambitious ideas like this, and they seemingly never pan out. This is one of the reasons I'm a bit wary of this project. There have been many simulation projects in the sim community that have come and promised to do everything and more the competition does. One such project that comes to my mind is a game called Crush Depth. The games wanted every knob in the U-boat to be modeled. Crews of 18, a real dynamic campaign. The list goes on. The developers ended up selling Crush Depth for $60 with a modeled engine room, which while being really impressive was leagues away from the vision that was sold. That is what was sold for $60. A dream of a game. A dream many of us wanted. Crush Depth has not been updated in years, and until recently was still being sold on Steam. This experience, along with others like Track While Scan for example, have made me weary of indie devs that come and say they want to deliver the world. I think dev teams that have done a good job of setting realistic expectations and delivering are teams like the GHPC team. They built a vertical slice, they showed us their vision and are now executing on it. I have no doubt in my mind that everything on the GHPC roadmap will be delivered. One thing that would help relieve a lot of the skepticism around Aces and Armour would be a rough roadmap. Nothing precise, no dates, just stages of what the devs would like to see accomplished, especially when they are trying to get folks to donate to their Patreon to meet funding goals. Now that I brought up the Patreon, I do want to say that the devs did tell me they are in talks with publishers if the self-funding goal doesn't pan out, although they would prefer to go the self-funding route. Now, there is one more thing that I want to discuss before wrapping up this video, and that is the monetization model that the developers of Aces and Armour have put forward. They aim to sell the base game for $15, which is great. They would like to sell premium vehicles that were rarely seen on the battlefield in limited quantities. These vehicles can be traded and bought on a marketplace. To put it plainly, I hate this. Originally, my skepticism was fueled purely by the ambitions of this project, but now with this payment model, I have a hard time getting really excited about Aces and Armour, despite how fantastic the driving model is. When I asked the lead developer why they are using this payment model, they said, quote, "We want players to be able to actually own their vehicles, meaning that if you have a vehicle, you can play it. I find it very frustrating in games like Squad 44, where whether you can or can't play a vehicle is dependent on how quickly you can join the server and click. We want the vehicles to be uncommonly seen, and also for players to actually own them. I, and many others, much prefer this system to just limiting them in a match." End quote. Let me break down why I don't like this, and we will use the Tiger II as an example. There were 492 Tiger II tanks built during the war. I'm sure not all of those saw combat, but we will use 492. Say for this example, the devs release the Tiger II and only sell 492 modules. For one, this will incentivize scalping. People could buy numerous Tiger II modules and just resell them on the marketplace for an inflated price. Additionally, with such a limited pool of these tanks, I can imagine the price of some of these tanks skyrocketing on the market. I am by no means an economist, but with a limited supply of a fan favorite tank like the Tiger II, this is what I see happening. In the comments of YouTube videos, the devs have said this is not a pay-to-win system. I respectively disagree. If I am willing to purchase a limited edition tank like the Tiger II that will be plopped into a 2-hour-long battle without the overall logistical context of the war, I do not see how this is not pay to win. When I say the context of the greater war, this is what I mean. Will the German team be outnumbered at all times later in the war? Will my Tiger II have mechanical problems that it historically did in a short 2-hour-long battle? Will I be low on ammunition because a P-47 bombed our logistics train a few hours ago? How about fuel? The list goes on. And if those things are also modeled, how would I feel if I bought this limited tank at an inflated price and then it immediately breaks down? Now, I'm not opposed to these things being modeled. I think it would be great, but then that just adds more things the devs are promising to do with an already ambitious project. I spent a lot of time on this aspect because I truly feel this system is counterproductive and frankly predatory. Taking advantage of your player base by capitalizing on FOMO is a horrible practice, and I can't turn a blind eye to this, especially for such a passionate and dedicated player base like that of the simulation community. I do not think this video will change the devs' mind, and I didn't make it to. And that's fair, frankly, it's their game. I just feel it is my responsibility to address it. Well, folks, this is all for today's video, and I do hope you all enjoyed it. Do you think I was too harsh regarding the proposed payment model? Do you actually prefer this payment model? And how did you like the driving demo? Personally, like, the game itself is fantastic. It's just some of the things surrounding it put me on edge. But let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. This is Wolfpack345, and I will see you all on the next one.